Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere there's going to be a clip, a live viewing, which is on Facebook and TikTok at the moment. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody, and let me get my headset on. That'll help me hear myself. Yeah. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Let me get this flipped around before I get yelled at by all my regulars. They're like, why aren't you turned around the right way? Because I don't want to be. All right. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Hopefully, you all are doing great out there. Don't forget to like, share, and follow whenever you do hit the channel. That helps us out. And again, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. Let me get that a little bit more centered up right there. Maybe. We'll see. All right, there we go. So, a lot is going to happen on today's broadcast, from horror talk to spooky season to autographing some shirts that are getting ready to go out today. Working on a memorial pet painting. Got some new covers for Legacy Comics to show off, since he's already dropped and let the cat out of the bag. So, welcome to the broadcast. We'll let people show up just a little bit before we start doing all of the stuff that we just talked about doing. Grab yourself a V8 energy drink and enjoy your day. So, it is spooky season. It is, we are, what is it? 8 days away from Halloween. Y'all looking forward to it? Some of you are looking forward to it to ending. But some of us are looking forward to Halloween. And, I celebrate Halloween all year round, basically. Just because I watch horror movies 24/7, basically. Um, it's one of those things you can't get enough of when it comes down to it. And, so, yeah, I enjoy the horror movies and TV shows and things like that, 24/7 all year round. I could watch those over your dramas or some people love the Hallmark Channel, those type things. Not here. Not here. But thank you for the likes. Much appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, and follow if you don't mind, please. And again, I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Like I said, we're going to be signing some shirts that are going out today. We're going to be showing you some new comic book covers in homage to Frank Miller from Sin City Realm for Legacy Comics. We're also going to show you some new T-shirts that are available up for grabs if you're interested in ordering some T-shirts. Working on a pet memorial piece right now. We're adding in some of the finer details and things of that nature. But again, we are still talking about the spooky season. We had some paranormal activity happen last night. The cat was actually watching an orb in the dining room area, kitchen-esque area, right off the bedroom, and we saw it on the cameras that we've got throughout the house. And you know, we do catch orbs on a regular basis when it comes to the library area, especially. We catch orbs in here on occasion. We also get different light anomalies, like we had a big flashing light, like someone took a picture from right over here. Now, if you see any lights flashing above my head and things like that, that's debunked. That's my watch right here reflecting the light source right there. So anything you see that happens like right about right here, that goes up, straight up, that has been debunked. Good morning, Mr. Kirk Holt. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Glad to see you here. Just like we saw Roy pop in, we're seeing some new faces pop in. But what we do here, we talk about horror movies, sci-fi movies, and Casey's here. Good morning. Don't forget to like, share, and follow when you drop in. We talk about comic books. We talk about comic book movies. We talk about paranormal stuff. We talk about everything under the sun except for religion and politics. Because once you start talking about those two things, people start losing their damn minds. And if you want to do that, go to another broadcast channel or start your own. And that way you can talk about those two topics on a regular basis. So, there you go. I'm not calling roll, man. And we're not in the military no more. I mean, once military, always military. But and and we are prepared. And if you don't know what that means, you got to be part of the military. So, but yes, Kirk, we're going to be signing your shirts here live. Like I believe I told you that when the shirts came in, we'll be signing them live today on the channel, and then they'll be shipped out as early as I can. Hey Jay, what is up? Well, cool. Somebody's peeing right now while they're watching the show. That's awesome. Always a new something happening here on the show. And if you want to pee or drop a deuce or whatever, go for it. That's on you. We're not seeing it, so it's all good. Somebody got filtered already on the show. Um, I think I'm going to sign it on Mr. Alien right here. Kirk. This one gets the black Sharpie. What up, Jackson? Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am signing shirts right now. Mr. Kirk Holt, who is here on the broadcast channel right now, ordered up a ton of shirts for the Halloween season and just to promote 412 Productions because the shirts he got right here is what I'm wearing right here, right now. And he ordered some for himself and his lovely wife, I'm pretty sure. Maybe. It could be for somebody else. I don't know. But I'm about to autograph these shirts that he ordered. He ordered 2 of these shirts, and then he ordered 3 of the American Horror shirt, which I will be getting to sign those here in a minute. And he dropped a small card on my shoulder while. Is there more to that story? I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to fuck this up. All right, so I gotta lay this down just a little bit. Okay, there is one autograph right there. Bum bum bum. Oh, you were praying in your bathroom at age 6. I got you. I got you. One autograph. Oh, and I did get another voice acting gig for the Power Rangers crew that I work with. This will be my second voice acting gig with them. So congratulations on that. One down. Where can I put it? Right there. That looks like a good spot right there. Right there, right there. Here's number 2. Here's number 2. Um. Well, thank you for the hand hearts. That's always much appreciated. As you know, oh, this one just. Oh, this must be the medium one. It's a little smaller. Yeah, that would look like a child shirt on me. Just saying. Sorry, Kurt. All right. So let's get this done up as well. There we go. There's number 2, autographed. Yes, I said autographed. Right there. Bum, bum, bum. As you can see right there. Going down. Yeah, it's not going to go back the same way that it came out folded, but whatever. We all fold our stuff different ways. But it is going back into protected plastic. Not that that's going to protect it from anything, but welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Yes, this is a fan film made series that they are working on. This one's called Power Rangers Velocity. And I am going to play the voice of a Korvath High General. Zalbor is my character's name. I'm playing a High General. Not like as in, smoking high, but, maybe. I don't know. Right here is the American horror that he ordered just in time for Halloween, the spooky season. And I like to sign it a little bit lower on these. Boom, boom, boom. And the little symbol that I put the MA inside of, that is a dog tag. Just so you know. Right there, if you don't know, it is. It is. Since I am military, ex-military, veteran. And that I'm going to let sit out for just a uno momento, por favor. As it dries, and I have an itch ear. Must be someone talking about me out there. Love the signature sound. Well, thanks. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Bum, bum, bum. There goes some raccoons running across my roof. I got a thin roof in my office, so I get to hear all the critters that go up and around, and the ones that like to call the roof home. That's number 2, and number 3. And yes, well, they're your shirts. Hopefully you like them. But yes, these are awesome shirts. I'm gonna take this one and show you full throttle. This is on the maroon. It is great shirt, 100%. And the quality is really nice. I like the company that's printing them up and doing a killer job on them. All right. That takes care of the signing process, unless you want one of your own, which we hope you do. Dun, dun, dun. And there's the third and final signature. Well, let me get it in focus. Right there. Third and final signature right there on that shirt. It's going to sit out and dry. And once it is completely dry, all these shirts will go right back in their bags and then straight into a box and shipped directly to Mr. Kirk Holtz. So there you go. There you have that portion out of the way. But if you guys are interested in ordering shirts, we have added a whole bunch of new shirts to the slew of the mix, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But we do have some reveal time to do. Like we all know, I'm getting ready to start coloring up these. Whoops, right here. This is the mashup between Blade Runner and Kingdom Hearts. So this piece right here, excuse me, is going to get colored up next. Where you got Deckard fighting I believe they're called the Darkness in the Kingdom Heart world, and Sora from Kingdom Hearts is fighting the replicants on the Blade Runner side. Then we've got a mashup for God of War, if any of you have ever played God of War that are on the broadcast channel. Right here is a mashup between a Drekkie and a Wolver. My version is in the back, this little character right there. This was his envision right here up front. Lots of detail in there. You get to see some claws, you get to see some spine, you get to see some not gill. Well, he does have gills, but he also has scales and things of that nature. So there you go. And then Oh wait, there's more. So I am working on the pet memorial piece right now. It is in the color stages of the painting. Right there, right there. Yes, the dog is in a wheelchair, and that's how the owner wanted him portrayed. So I am doing the owner's wishes there because I did ask if he wanted the wheelchair or not, and he said yes specifically because that's how he pushed the dog around in its later years, was in the wheelchair. So you know, you do what the customer wants, and that's how it goes on that end. Now, I am working with Legacy Comics, which is a comic book company out of New Jersey, right in that New York, New Jersey area. One of the places I've always wanted to go was New Jersey for the Kubert School of Art, which you can do online now. But that's just something I haven't just decided to drop the money on and things like that. Because going through the Kubert School of Art, you can land some big time gig jobs uh, out there in Marvel, DC, any independents, or start your own, which I'm doing now without having gone to that school. Um, but Legacy Comics with Mr. Patrick Hickey Jr. Has allowed me to do a lot of cool things with his company. Right now, I'm working on what's called Condry, which is one of his uh, main titles in the Legacy Comics universe. And this one is called Man's Best Friend. It's going to be what's called an Ash Can edition. Roy, don't go off the rails with that again. As it's a smaller book, meaning that it's not quite this size, but it's not quite your typical, let me pull one out, comic book size either. So it's not this size and it's not this size. It's technically about an 8.5 by 11 sheet folded in half, basically. So basically, if you cut this book in half and folded it in half, this portion, we'll just do this right here, is what you're looking at on the book. So that's what it's going to be. And that's called an Ash Can Edition. ASH, like Ash versus the Evil Dead. And it's a standalone story, a one shot. It's an 8 pager. And it fills in, like Patrick Hickey said, it fills in gaps in the story for Condry. Because in his own stories, he has gaps in there. So this is going to start filling in specific gaps throughout his books. And so I'm doing the whole book, all 8 pages, all of the uh, sequential artwork throughout the book, which will be my first official sequential comic book done out there in the world. Now, back in the day in the 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s, I did have a little uh, book out there that was spotlighting not only my artwork, but other people's artwork. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Out there for, it was an anthology series basically, which means it had my artwork in it, and then it also had other people's artwork and writings and poems and things of that nature in it as well. So it was showcasing a lot of different people at the same time. So, but I did a few sequential pages in there, and they were okay. But this is going to be completely different because now there's a whole new style of the way I do artwork as opposed to even when I did it back then, which is, 26, 27, maybe 28 years ago, you know. And I've just learned, a lot more since then and just progressed even further. So, without further ado, here are the two covers in paying homage to Frank Miller from Sin City, Batman, Dark Knight Returns, Daredevil, Elektra. He's a great writer, great artist. And this is one of the covers right here. Yes, this is a take from A Dame to Kill For, right there. And that's why it's an homage to, and an homage means a respect to the person that did it the first time, which is Frank Miller. And so there is that one. So that's number one, which could be the number B cover. I'm not sure which one that one is. And then here's the other one in the same vein, just a different look. So there's two different covers. Right now, it's all on, well, it's going to be digital and it's going to be physical copies of this book. And we're looking for lots of orders on these. The link is up on my page, which I shared it from Patrick Hickey himself after he shared it and went live with it yesterday. After I got him the pictures that so that he could get in there and start putting the trade dress logo on there and all of that goody good stuff. So, you know, we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to the whole kit and caboodle when it comes down to it for the whole 8-page ash can, which will be awesome. Again, first sequential comic book out there with my artwork fully from front to back. And so that'll be pretty cool. Let's see here. Again, we added a bunch of t-shirts to this little list right here. So if you haven't seen those, we've got a whole new slew of shirts, and we'll go quickly through them. You got the Joker. You got the Joker. You got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. You got Chester Bennington. I'm going to do a Ozzy Osbourne piece in this vein as well. Ivan Moody of Five Finger Death Punch. The one you just saw in actual living color with the maroon shirt instead of the black shirt. American Horror. Howard the Duck. The original Howard the Duck, not the CGI stuff that they have in the MCU right now. Dexter. Art the Clown from Terrifier. And All Hallows Eve. Brandon Lee, The Crow, another homage because this piece right here, right there, is a James O'Barr look-alike. And so I did an homage to James O'Barr for that little piece right there on this shirt. I do have it in yellow and black. Wonder Woman, another fan favorite. Some orders just went in on that one. The Naughty Nun series, The Bad Habits. And then Jeepers Creepers. This is some of our new stuff. Jeepers Creepers. Mitsuri from Demon Slayer. Bishop from Marvel Universe. Gambit from Marvel Universe. Inosuke from Demon Slayer. I need to put those two together. Doctor Doom from Marvel. And since you got Robert Downey Jr. playing the new Doom in the new MCU movie, there you go. And then my take on Alice in Wonderland with the Mad Hatter behind her. There you go. That's our new shirts right now. I still have some more to add to this list. I just haven't got them printed out yet because I've got to add the logo to the pictures before they go on the shirts. All right. There we go. That's how easy it is, folks. If you want to order a shirt right there, as Mr. Holt just showed right there, another Holt order going in. So, let's get this right. Dexter with one medium and one large. All right. See how easy that is, folks? That's how easy it is to put in an order. I order it. Once I get it in, I ship it directly to you. And if you want it autographed, I do that for free. No charge on that. So, thanks again for the order, Mr. Kurt Holt. Mucho apreciado. All right, so, like I said, last night we had some more paranormal activity. Angelo, the cat, was laying next to me in bed, and he started looking out the door, and he kept bobbing his head, and all the other animals were in the bedroom, like down at the foot of the bed on the chase. The little kitten, who we're trying to still find a home for, was asleep above Audrey, and on her pillow, one of the extra pillows she has. And so he kept bobbing his head, and he wasn't looking down at the ground; he was looking straight out. And so we pulled up the camera, and you could see an orb moving about, you know, in there. And it wasn't a fly, it wasn't a moth, it wasn't anything like that, because you can tell, you know, everyone at my office loves everything we get. Well, tell your office to order them all. Because I'm sure some of the people in the office could find something that they want from here, you know, which is awesome. I mean, I love that. That you guys order the shirts, you wear the shirts, or have them once they get delivered, and they're like, "Ooh, I love that," those type things, which is cool. And I love that, all because that just means that I'm doing justice to my artwork, you know. And it's just like these new books with Legacy Comics, these new covers and things. I'm looking forward to see the reaction from everybody out there. I know some have already been pre-ordered already. Once the link went live, so that's always a cool feeling. Whenever somebody's just like, I've already ordered, and I know she orders pretty much everything that comes through. Cassie does, and so that's pretty awesome. You well, thanks. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate the compliment, Kurt. You guys are awesome yourselves, and it shows. And it's one of those things where even though we weren't friends in high school, um, we're gonna be lifelong friends, from here on out, and we will be, you know, we do have our phone numbers, so we'll be chit chatting back and forth, and as we normally do. So, that's the cool thing about finding people later in life, because like I said, in many of our lives, had we known each other in high school, we probably wouldn't be talking today. And it's just the facts of life, because after high school, even though I had some good friends, Larry, Jeff, Darren, Micah, so on and so forth, I don't keep in contact with those guys, period, you know? And we were at each other's houses. I was at their houses more than they were at my houses, because my stepdad always made fun of anybody I brought to the house, you know, especially poor Darren Jeans, because he had longer hair than I did, you know, and he got ridiculed every time he stepped foot on the property by my stepdad, and not cool at all. Uh, but that's just how he was, you know. He was of that old generation, yeah. And it's just like, what was he, born in the 40s, somewhere in there, 1940 something or other, you know. But that's why I was pretty much at other people's houses on a regular basis, because of the ridicule that my friends got whenever they came around. And it's not cool by any parent to ridicule anybody, but you see it on a regular basis, even in today's time and society. But and that's how it went, So I was always like, nope, peace out. I'm going somewhere else. And like I said, with our generation in the 80s and 90s, or pretty much all of the into the 70s and the 80s, you know, we would go to friends' houses, and then by the time the rest of the world caught up, by the streetlights coming on, we had been at 10 other people's houses. So had they called one person's house, they'd be like, no, they're over at such and such's house, and they would have to try and track you down if they were looking for you. 90% of the time, they weren't ever looking for us. I was never allowed to have any friends while young, and see, that's horrible. Um, you know, I don't know what the purpose of that is from a parent standpoint. I can have friends, but you know, like I said, they would get ridiculed anytime they stepped on the property for something. Like I was saying, Darren Jeans because of his long hair, and then you know, Jeff or Larry, they were okay because they played football, and but they still got ridiculed periodically, and so I apologize for them, for his attitude, and I'm not the one that should be apologizing, you know, and but you have to apologize at some point in time for your parents' upbringing of certain things, and it sucks that you have to, but you know it's all one of those things that, yeah, it's been a long time since all of that, but it still obviously is still there. You still see it in your mind's eye when they would come over and things of that nature. So, but that's how it was when we were kids. The parents were of a totally different generation. Like I said, the 1940s. You know, and then of course us in the 1970s and 1980s, which most of you out there probably are thinking, "Oh my God, you guys are 100+ years old." You know, Roy, you got your energy drink yet? You should. You restocked everything, just like I did. The end of an era came to this household just yesterday, or the day before. What day was it? It was Wednesday, the 22nd. Not yesterday. So after I went live, I'm eating beans. Awesome. We had chili last night. Awesome chili. Um, got rid of my old 2008 Hyundai Santa Fe that had been sitting over where the tree fell through the windshield, which I've posted pictures of and things of that nature. And well, I hate to be in the office with you later on today, Mister Kurt Holt. Hopefully, you got good ventilation system in that place. But sold off the old Hyundai Santa Fe. I'm not sure what they were going to do with it, but they came out of Oklahoma City. They drove basically 3 hours to come get the car, and I'm happy it's gone. I mean, it held a lot of memories because, unfortunately, it was the first car I paid full cash price for after my son's death, and so it held a lot of memories in that aspect, and it hauled the girls, my other two kids, back and forth between Shawnee and Fort Smith, Arkansas. Awesome. Kudos to her for making some chili beans. And you have them with some fava beans. But yeah. And so that was the end of an era for that vehicle. I'd had it since 2009. And again, held a lot of memories in that vehicle. Um, but it was going to be fixed up until that branch went through the windshield, broke the speaker or the stereos and the shifter. Because I mean, it split it all the way over. And you know, I could have fixed it up and sold it for more, but we'll just let the next person deal with it. Because I've already had my fill of it, and it sat there for basically a year and a half after it became sluggish, and it was just like, okay, yeah, we were gonna try and fix it up until that branch came through the windshield. So, but yes, now it's all just memories of it driving off into the sunset, and we actually passed it when we went to go get some feed, and it's like, well, damn, he hasn't got very far. Uh, so, is the devil part of the unknown stash paranormal? What's we talking about here? I'm trying to figure out what we're talking about here. What are we talking about here, Kurt? Because the only demon I know is my kid story that I've told many a times about seeing the demon, as a child, about 9 years old. And Slash is double part of the unknown slash paranormal. Depends on how you want to look at it. Okay, so he had a card hit his shoulder as a child. Please continue. You have us intrigued. And while he is formulating his thoughts here on this card that hit him, I'm going to show you what I've been doing. Remember that old spooky doll that had no eyeballs? You know, this one? Now she's getting even spookier. She's got her first layer of the gray paint down instead of her porcelain white skin and the porcelain white hands. Now they're gray and no eyeballs. She's going to get much spookier, folks. Much cooler. The dress is going to start to look grungy and worn. But there you go. The first layer, we're making her into basically a haunted doll. Okay, so while praying in the bathroom, okay. So he was hit by a card while praying in the bathroom. What kind of a card was it? Was it a playing card? Was it a credit card? Was it a baseball card? Football card? Details, man. I gotta have the details. Because things speak to you in details. Oh, you don't remember? Okay. But it was some kind of a card. It could have been a business card, could have been a baseball card, could have been a credit card. Well, did they have credit cards back then? I mean, I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did. I don't remember when the first credit card rolled out, but nonetheless, a card hit you in the shoulder. It was less than 1 inch by 1 inch, so that wouldn't even be a business card. So that's 2.5 by 3.5. A baseball card is bigger than that. So it was from a game. Okay, cool. Welcome back, Roy. You got your bit. You got several V8 energy drinks to get you through, so you don't have to go to Betty Bye. All right. So praying in the bathroom gets hit by a card from a newer game. I'm liking this story, and this is real stuff. Scared me to death because I didn't know where it came from. Well, I mean that would make sense in a bathroom, and your story, like mine, happened in a bathroom, no game, and that's where I saw the red glowing eyes, the demon eyes, in the mirror. And again, I'm gonna have to draw or paint that picture because just so you understand. Yes, you went to pray in the bathroom. Yeah. No, I get that. I went to use the bathroom in the bathroom. So yeah, what was on the card? You might not remember that either because, like you said, it was a smaller card, smaller than a business card, smaller than a baseball card. So we're talking paranormal stories right here. Kirk Holt is telling us his story about praying in the bathroom and getting hit by a card on his shoulder. Left or right? And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Production. We are talking paranormal stories. We just went through a whole bunch of signings of T-shirts that were ordered, and we just got a new shipment of orders to order up later in the day. But I'm waiting for the signatures to dry on these shirts, and then I'll package them back up, and then they will be packaged and sent to Mr. Kirk, who's telling us his paranormal story when he was a child. How old were you? Did you tell me that and I just missed it? Because mine, when I saw the demon, I was 9. It was just after my dad's death, and I was staying with my aunt, and my cousin and I were up late talking. And it was probably getting close to the witching hour whenever we both saw it, but I'm the only one that's talked about it that I know of. As far as I know, he hasn't talked about it. Period. So, my sister said I ran from the bathroom yelling that the devil was in our bathroom. Well, I mean, you were praying, something hit you in the shoulder, that little card, you were 6. Okay, so there you go. Were you doing the "I lay me down to sleep, pray the Lord my soul to keep," or was it a different prayer? Because I don't know what religion you were raised up in as a kid. Baptist, Catholic, Nazarene, Methodist, Seventh Day Advent. I don't know. Me, I was a started out as a Baptist until they pulled a bonehead move and stopped in front of an adult bookstore with a bus full of children, and the news shows up as they're protesting this adult bookstore as people are coming out with their VHS tapes and their books and stuff like that, and they're protesting, and all the kids' faces are up against the glass, watching people come in and out of the store, and parents see all of our faces, and pretty soon parents start showing up, pulling them off the bus. Never went back to that church ever again. When she went in, the card was burning. Interesting. So yeah, that would be a demon. Hmm. Interesting. That's cool. I like it. Instead of the Burning Man theory, it's the Burning Card theory. The parents were at a banquet, and he might not remember it because, like I said, he doesn't remember what kind of a card it was either. And for it to be burning, nobody's going to be able to know what was on that card. Uh, that's the kicker. What was on the card that hit you, and then ultimately it started to burn. So that means that there was a lot of kinetic energy with that card. You know, it wasn't a card that came from our house, so it just materialized out of nowhere. That's even cooler. So I like it. I like it a lot. I know it traumatized you as a 6-year-old child, just like mine traumatized me as a 9-year-old child. You but that's what ultimately got me into trying to do more research into the paranormal side. And so you've never seen the card in anything, and you have checked every game since. Awesome. I mean, and that's pretty cool. I mean, to vaguely remember what the card was, um, and knowing that you didn't have that card in your house. Where was your sister when you came yelling out of the bathroom? And there's no game that has this small card. I got you. I'm just trying to debunk everything because you know, um, was your sister downstairs in another room? She was in the living room. Okay, so that debunks that she wasn't outside the bathroom door when you came running out. Uh, well, Monopoly has semi-small cards. I'm not going to say they're small cards because what he's describing is smaller than a Monopoly card. Because your Monopoly card is roughly the same size as a baseball card, maybe just a hair bit smaller, height wise. Um, not like a 1.5 inch card. Because even your business card is a 2.5 by 3.5 inch card, even back in the day. Woke up because something was at my window. Now, see, I had that experience happen at a friend's house too. Um, we were, you know, I was at a friend's house, and he had two separate twin beds in his room, and he we'd been talking for a while, and then we were kind of like with my cousin, we were winding down, going to sleep. The card is the size of a Scrabble piece. Okay. Oh, little bitty Scrabble thing, like the alphabet card or alphabet block. So, and next thing I know, I'm leaned up or tilted up in bed on my on my left shoulder, facing the wall, and he's got the window close to his bed, and he starts screaming bloody murder. I roll over and I see a shadow move across the window, you know. And his mom comes in and trying to figure out what's going on. They go outside, they don't see anybody, and we even went outside the next day and looked, and there was no footprints outside the window, anything like that, in the fresh dirt where she had, put some new plants and things like that. So I can relate to that. Someone was at something outside the window. So that's two different paranormal experiences I had as a kid, around that 9-year-old age gap. So you had a tiny little card, and I'm talking, you know, because those little Scrabble pieces are 1 inch by 1 inch, um, and so with about a quarter of an inch thick. So that is super tiny, and for it to burst into flames after it hit you, you know, I mean, hopefully it wasn't in flames as it hit you. So that's pretty cool. I mean, again, I know it is a traumatization to a child, especially of 6 years old. Uh, yes, it was small. When my sister uh, consoled me, we went into the bathroom and it was burned around. Nice. I mean, it's not nice, but you know, yeah, the burned edges around it. Gotcha. Well, here's the next thing. I know you don't remember all the super details since you were 6 and all that good stuff, but was there a symbol on it? No, I'm not saying there was. I'm just, if you remember, if there was or not. Again, one of the shirts right there, boom, 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 with the autograph on it. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm just trying to help you out, try to figure out what was the meaning of all of it. Did you have any other experiences, after that fact, or was it just a one-time deal at that point in time, other than the person outside the house or at the window, not outside the house, but at the window? My parents' old house in South Houston was littered with paranormal activity, and see, that's pretty awesome. Now, did you find it awesome while you were there, or, you know, did you like hate it? Because I live in a haunted house, and I don't mind it at all. It does all kinds of poltergeisty activity around here. And yes, Mr. Kirkholt, nice shirts. Yes, like I said, it was a simple look like a devil would look. Okay, so that was the symbol. It was like a devil's face on the card or on the block, if you will. Okay, okay. So it was the experience as a child was that little devil card. Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense, and I apologize for misconstruing that. I will do some research on that because yes, it sounds like a demon was playing tricks with you uh, to definitely get your attention and to draw more energy, fear from you. Uh, okay, Cat Scratch Fever says I wasn't born yet. My brother looked into a peanut can when it was empty and a demonic like figure was inside. I'm assuming it was inside. Um, so lots of demon esque experiences from children, from kids. How old was your brother at the time? It was the experience that made me author the book, The Godsport, or Godsport. Godsport. He was 8. Okay, so he was around the same age that I was when I saw my first demon. So, and then 6 for Kirk with his demon experience. So, and that's the thing with kids. They can see more than we as adults do because we as adults put off those childish natures and we stop seeing those things that kids can see. And as we were children, we could see that stuff because our minds were still more open to that than as we are as an adult. But we can retrain ourselves to see those things if we want to. You just have to be more open minded with the afterlife, with the spiritual side of things. Not like as in the deities and gods and things like that. The thought is that if you want to see the paranormal, you will see the paranormal, as long as you have an open mind to it. You know, we learn our world not where we came from, the before life. See right there, and some of these demonic forces have been around before we were even thought of. You know, and they just happen to latch onto us because of something that happened as a child, or traumas and things of that nature. And sometimes they're just there as residuals and not the demonic side. I'm just talking about the paranormal side of it all. And it's just very cool. Think of the word demon. From the Greek daemon, think of activity. And as we look at it all, during certain time frames in the years, activity amps up just because more people are thinking about it more readily and to demonstrate. You mean demons trait? And right now, the paranormal world is up in arms about the whole Conjuring house getting taken off the market. Someone bought the mortgage to the house, and there was paranormal groups that were trying to save it uh, from getting into the hands of people that just want to turn it into an amusement park, basically. And they want it to go back to the Perrin family. Yes, Matt Rife and his partner uh, bought that house and have jacked up prices to even stay there. They're talking like $2,300 to stay there and doing a paranormal investigation. And you have to use their equipment, and you have to pay a price to have that investigation looked over by their people, and that can cost you up to or more than $500 for a 3-minute video review. So, and they're claiming that they had to do that because they had to do upgrades to this, they had to do that, they had to do this, and it's just like, exactly, 100% a scam. And then for them to take out the items from the museum itself and take it on tour with them, like Matt Rife was taking the Annabelle doll on tour with him on his comedy tours, and then the other guy was taking the Divic boxes on paranormal investigations and opening them. You know, even though a lot of people said, including one guy that had a Divic box that went into the Warrens museum, said it was fake, that he made up the whole thing. Now, if that's true or not, you take it for a grain of salt or whatever you want, but um, it's just not cool. It's just not cool. Um, and that is if you believe the Warrens or not as well. You know what happened to that Ryan guy? He's not the same. Which Ryan guy? The guy that's with Matt, and they were doing their ghost tour. Uh, I started watching some of that, and I just couldn't get through it. Um, Especially one where they were in a prison, I think, and they were in a boiler room. He had his own show. He lives in PA. Yes, Matt Rife, the comedian. He's into the paranormal side of things, Roy. And so they were doing one where they were sitting in a boiler room and they were shooting back towards the door, which was way at the other end. They had a group of chairs and things like that. Yes, 30.1 thousand, Mr. Casey. Much appreciated, brother. Don't forget to like, share, and follow our broadcast show here. And you can go up here if that's where it is for you guys. I don't know if that is or not, but you can go to my profile and you can follow my other social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you are here on TikTok with us now. We're talking about he bought the Conjuring house with his partner. I can't remember the other guy's name. Maybe it's the Ryan guy. But and they've turned it into a amusement park basically, where they're charging $2,300 to go and do an investigation for up to, I think it is 20 hours, but you have to use their equipment and you have to pay for any footage that could be found. Ryan, I believe that is correct. I think it's Ryan Buell. Um, and that extra footage of 3-minute footage could cost you over $500 just to get reviewed, on top of the $2,300 that you've already spent on staying there. Now, if you've got a group of 10 or 12 people, $2,300 isn't that much, you know. But if it's just an individual, it's not going to happen for most individuals unless you're a rich, person, you know, that just wants to blow $2,300. Um, but again, back to that boiler room, they were shooting back at a door. Well, they have all this equipment, multiple cameras and things like that, and they keep seeing this flashlight and a figure walk into the room with this flashlight from at the door, and they're all back here. Well, then they run at the door and get there, and nobody's there. It's just like, so why don't we set up a camera, since we have multiples, outside the door facing us from the other direction while we're facing it at this direction, and see if we capture that same activity, you know? Um, so that one, I mean, I just found it hard to sit there and watch their stuff. Um, yeah, they were a lot quieter than Colby and Sam. because once they start getting any type of paranormal activity happening, they are quick to be like, "Oh, ah," all this stuff, and they're talking over their recordings, and it's just like, dude, shut up, let let the thing speak, let the spirit speak, and then do your oohs and ahs after there's no more activity, you know. But they're more Colby and Sam are a little bit better in my opinion than Matt Rife and his crew, you know, when it comes down to a lot of things because they do have multiple cameras set up. They do have things, you know, kind of like you always see with Jason Hawes and his group, or and I can't even with Zach. I'm a little bit iffy with when it comes down to it. I know a lot of people think he's cute and funny and all that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that comes to light about a lot of these guys in the entertainment industry, you and so it is what it is. If you believe everything that you see on TV or the, you know, yeah, Jason is still relevant. He doesn't do as many ghost hunts as he used to, but he still has his foot in there, you know. And it was sad whenever him and damn it, I can't remember his name, his partner at the time that started Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters, his Rotor Rooter buddy Grant, yes, and split, because of differences of opinions and things like that. Um, but they both went on to do their own things, and they've met, several times since that split, you know, and I think they put some of their differences behind them. But you can only believe so much in the paranormal field when it comes to YouTubers and Discovery Channel and things of that nature. So you take it with a grain of salt with what you want to believe. Do your own investigations, is my opinion. That's why I have this in my office. I'm getting more equipment of my own so that I can, debunk certain things and I have caught EVPs in here, you know, kind of like Colby and Sam, garbled messages of things, but it comes through after you ask questions. You know, I don't get those concise, clear EVPs that a lot of people get on, the TV shows, or even on the YouTube channels and things like that of of the paranormal hunts, that people post on their own, apart from these big groups that are famous from TV. And so I get a lot of unrecognizable voices after I ask questions, and so that's why I have it. Whenever I start hearing knocks or different things that I shouldn't be hearing in my office, that I know aren't the animals in the attic, that aren't the, like, raccoons play right above my head, you so I know that sound over a knock or whatever. Yes, it takes hours of research to see or even hear. Because I did a full hour plus EVP the other day, and there's probably some things that I missed because I walked out of the room while it was still playing, and I didn't quite hear anything. But I'm still trying to get this damn thing to hook up to my computer again, like it used to, so I can take the recording off, so I can separate out things to see if there's anything on there. So anytime I hear something weird that's not a normal sound, like the humming of the refrigerator or the ceiling fan above my head, or the raccoons, like I said, up in the attic, because there's some spots I got to fill, but I've got to let them get out first before I can cover the holes and all that stuff. Because I don't want dead animals up in my attic, um, just because it's not cool and it smells bad. And and so like I said, I've caught some good EVPs. I've got orbs in here, um, and all that good stuff. Yeah. No, we rescue animals around here. We don't pop them off. I mean, I know you can do a BB gun on a lower setting to not uh, let down Radiohead. You like Radiohead? And so, uh, we are, in that process of getting more equipment for our own house, and that way we can start debunking things 100%. Um, because yes, we want to get the spirit box. Yes, we want to get, you know, the infrared. Yes, we want to get, the what is it, the light act that gives you that little figure image creator. Um, the cat balls, and actually, we have something that I could technically use right now as a cat ball. Uh, there's a dinosaur that lights up and roars that we could technically use right now to see if there's any, if they want to interact. Oh yes, stuff costs money, but through TikTok, through Amazon, you can find some of the same stuff that people use on a regular basis at a relatively nice price. You know, have any beliefs in mediums? I do. There, you've got both sides. You have to get some that are truly accredited. There's one I follow on TikTok. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head, but excuse me, she's really good. Um, and she talks to people on her live show. And she had a live show on either last night or this morning. I can't remember. But yes, mediums can be a good thing. But then you can also get the flip side that just like your palm reader, um, that are going to tell you things just because, oh well, this looks like it could be, and so on and so forth. I have not heard of Ruth Montgomery. I will look her up. But then you've got your mediums on TV. Amy Bruni, she's a good one. I believed her stuff, especially whenever they did the whole investigation separate of each other, and then they would come together, and her detective partner would present his evidence, and then she would tell what happened on her walk. You know, I'm gonna sleep for a while and get on home. I'll catch you on the flip side. Great day to all. Well, good day, Casey, and have safe travels on the way home. I know you stopped for a short bit. Um, just safe travels. Oh, okay. Yeah, I hadn't. I mean, maybe I'd heard the name, but it didn't ring a bell right off the top of my head. But I will look her up. Because in retrospect, Kirk, even though I have been seeing paranormal stuff most of my life, I'm what you would call a new soul in the paranormal investigator as of, probably 15, 20 years now, which, isn't technically new, but, it's not like I've been going out on ghost hunts and things like that. I've been on a couple throughout my life, but nothing major, nothing as in depth as I want to get into right now, and so this is all not new to me, but newer. And so I'm wanting to, oh, during Reagan's time. Okay, I'm sure she'll be easy to find then. But you've got a lot of right now paranormal groups coming under fire because of their stances towards, you know, this person or how they're making fun of this person and things like that. Association of Research and Enlarge, is it enlightenment or enlargement? But Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. We've been talking paranormal here, and we're going to continue talking some paranormal stuff. Have you seen the tall, dark shadows wearing the god medallion around its neck? My mother did. No, I see a lot of shadow figures, and I see a lot of Edgar Casey. So, okay. Um, I haven't seen that one, but like I said, I've seen a lot of shadow figures, and I've seen full body apparitions here at my house. We've also caught some strange mist around tombstones and things like that at different grave sites or graveyards that we've been to um, that weren't there in certain pictures, but then they were in other pictures, and you can debunk it because it wasn't a cold night or anything like that. And it spoke to her in an odd language, like Gregorian monk style, Hebrew, Latin, old world talk, those type of things. That's the things you would like to ask her. Uh, if she's still with us, you know, hopefully she is. Like my mother still is. She's 84, 85 years old, somewhere in that range. And I know she doesn't have long for this earth. It's just the facts of life. And so, yes, I will be devastated when my mommy leaves, but, you know, not that I talk to her on a regular basis, but, more often than not, and more often than I used to. Because there's lots of different dialects that this entity could have spoken when it comes down to it. And Dopest Ghost is in the house. If they're still here. Don't know if they are or not. But I'm the ghost with the most, man. But, yeah, it's lots of different things can go with all of that. And it's just like, is it of the old English? Is it, all those good things? Yes, it was that South Houston house. Okay. Okay, cool. And yes, she's still there. Or still with us, which is good. Awesome. But yeah, no, I mean that could be a lot of different things because it depends on when that house was made or built. Um, and thank you, Kirk, for the information you just sent. I'll look into that here in just a little while. And I'm trying to think because during whatever period it was built, um, could determine, what level of entity that is. And I'd have to do some research on that entity uh, with the gold medallion around its neck to see what that is about. And that will be something that I will look into because there's been some other entities that people have brought up that I've looked into, like, and it's not entities, it's the crystal use. Like one person said, a witch used a purple amethyst crystal, and it turned black during the ceremony. And basically, what that is taking all the negative energy from the area and drawing it into that crystal, and then it turns it into a black amethyst at that point. So, which traps the energy inside the crystal. So, All right, I'll look into that just to find out. You know, they found Medusa's head. They're finding all kinds of cool stuff right about now, and some of it they should just leave buried. But let's see. Did I miss anything while I was writing that down? Okay, that's what I need to put. Tall, dark shadow. There we go. There we go. All right, let me push that away. Get out of there. There we go. All right, so, um, I mean, I think that's cool. Was it petrified? Like, did she look in a mirror and it was concrete now? Turned to stone. Yeah, I hadn't seen that one, but my wife said she found Medusa head and told me it was time for a trim. And a lot of people are speculating, it's like, okay, Medusa had hair of a snake. So was her underarm hair snake too? Just tinier snakes in her armpit, if she shaved her armpit, all that good stuff. Hey, it was believable. Oh, it's just like finding Excalibur, sword in the stone, all that good stuff. But that's the cool thing about folklore and cryptids and things like that. You can draw your own conclusions to what you want to believe. Because in my 54 years of existence on this plane, uh, I've seen too much stuff to not believe certain things. The demon, the shadow figures, the full body apparitions, the poltergeist activity, the orbs, Bigfoot. Yes, I've seen Bigfoot. UFOs. I haven't seen an alien yet, but I've seen plenty of UFOs in my lifetime. What else have I seen? Oh, just different unexplained stuff. Going through life. What about the stone figure they found in Russia? Which one? I mean, I know there's a lot of different conspiracy theories and all kinds of different things about different mountains and stuff like that. And it's just like uh, the heads on Stonehenge that are like 12 extra feet down in the ground. You know, I think it was the snake that absorbed the woman, not the snake who was absorbed by the woman. The guardian with the shield. Okay, I haven't seen that one yet. I'll have to look that one up too. Um, that'll be something else I look up because I haven't seen that story yet. There are monoliths appearing. Oh yeah, 100%. Different monoliths showing up everywhere, and of course we've always got the crop circles and things like that. Uh, okay, look that one up too. No, but they're always finding cool stuff. You know, stuff that you wonder how it got there, and it's just like all of the hieroglyphs in the pyramids, how they depict alien crafts and spacemen and different things like that. And of course, the elongated heads of your typical alien shaped forces. You know, in the sands of time, we will find sand. I thought that was like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. My grandparents' favorite show, one of their favorite shows, anyway. One of their favorite soap operas, Days of Our Lives. And how is it buried so deep? Yeah, and it's like I said, it's just like the Stonehenge. You know how there's 12 extra feet of that head buried below the dirt, you know. So that thing weighed upwards of, you know, 10 to 20 tons just to get it moved up there, you know. And then for it to be planted 12 extra feet and you're still, 8 feet tall or 9 foot tall, whatever it is. I don't know the exact height of them, but yeah, it's crazy all the stuff that they're finding, all the different civilizations that they're starting to uncover. Yeah, it's settled in there. Uh huh. No, I know, and I'm not knocking that. It yes, from the sheer weight, it settled in there. Plus, over time, with the dirt blowing in and different things, yeah, it would definitely settle into the ground. So, but how did it get there? you know. Um, but yeah, all the different civilizations that they're starting to uncover, all the different tombs and different things here and there, and like that vampire that they found, uh, that had the metal shackles on it and the metal headpiece and other things around it, just to keep it from, if it did get revived somehow, some way, um, that it was sure to not be a hindrance to anybody. We did it last life, right? Yes, 100%. And alien, aliens, aliens did it with their hovercrafts. Them spaceships that everybody sees in movies and things. And it comes down and puts that bright light on you. That's probably what happened on that show. Whenever that flash hit me, I was abducted by aliens, and it was just that fast that 412. Okay, 412 Productions, and we'll tell you the story. Is I used to be under a different moniker. I was under AGK, Anderson Graphics Kingdom, and probably about 6 years ago, um, I used to wake up. Well, for most of my life, ever since going fishing with my grandfather. Um, I we I was up by about 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:12, 4:12, and so I was laying there one day after many nights of waking up at 4:12 in the morning. Picked up my phone and I look at it and it says 4:12, and I'm like, okay, I can go back to sleep. Well, I'm laying there, close my eyes, and about that time, boom, bright light came across my vision. After I closed my eyes, it said production, and I'm like, production? What does that mean? And I got to thinking about it, and I was like, 412 Productions. 412 Production. That sounds pretty good. So I locked it away in my brain and did nothing with it. And up to 2024, after relaunching my AGK business in about 2013, 2014, somewhere in that range, I decided things had slowed down. Things weren't going the way I wanted them to. Sales weren't coming in. All this good stuff. And it was just like, okay, it's time to revamp everything. And I was like, what can I do? What can I call myself? And boom, that memory of that morning of 412 Productions came to mind. And it was like, that's locked away. And that's a catchy title. That's a catchy name. So I started working on my 412 Productions. I had a different logo than this one. I don't know if I still have it over here or not. I used to. I don't see it over here no more. But it was a pretty flat alien. He was drawn on a piece of paper, all this good stuff, and it was like, that's awesome, that's cool. I started making business cards out of it. Thought it was going to be the next great thing, and then as I'm sitting there holding this piece of paper with that old logo. Hello, lights just in for some reason. Old logo on it, or the first logo. I was like, this is shit. I can do better than this. So then this alien was born right here. And yes, that is my gloved hand because I have a art glove to keep from smudging my ink all over the place. So right here, right there. So same hand right there that I drew with the pencil in hand that I used to use. I use a different one now. And came up with this whole moniker logo and relaunched my business. I put a tombstone out there with my old logo on it and a start time and an end time for it. And then my mother contacts me. You're not giving up artwork, are you? I said, Mom, just wait. Wait until tomorrow because this is the last day of the year. And she was like, you're not giving up your artwork. And I'm like, Mom, just wait. And so midnight, I'm pretty sure it was midnight on the dot, I flooded the market with 412 Productions. My new logo, my new everything. And this is my revamp year, rebuild year, where I'm starting to get, product in because I'm changing up everything. And so, um, good band. And and so once that hit, she was like, "Okay, good. I thought you were giving up your artwork, and I would hate to see that because you do such a great job and all this stuff." And it's just like, Mom, artwork is never going to go away. I tried that once. I was miserable because, um, and thank you for the mustache and hat right there, Mr. Kirk Holt. Much appreciated. That's always a fun one to see. You see it on everybody else's stuff, but you never get to see it on your own. So much appreciated, Kirk. Um, and 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 so in 2010, whenever I got married the second time, I gave up artwork because the ex-wife was like, the artwork's not going to pay the bills, it's not going to amount to anything, so on and so forth. And so I was like, fine, whatever. So I just dropped everything, and pretty much. And so from 2010 to about 2014, somewhere in that range, 2015. Thank you for the heart galaxy, awesome, and the hand hearts is what it's called. I gave it up, and I was miserable that whole time. Like you said, depression set in, and I'm already a disabled veteran with PTSD and other things going on from the IED blast, and and so I picked it all back up again. And so it was 2016, really, whenever I was drawing here and there, but nothing like I have been, from that point on. So about 2016, I picked it all back up again, started drawing 100%. Yes, it's totally real. And by 2017, I was going to comic book conventions showing her that, hey, there's money in this, you know? And so, and I went to comic book conventions all the way through 2024, which my last one was in December of 2024. And that's when I started telling people about 412 Productions coming into light. And and then once December ended and January 1 hit, 412 Production was born, revamping all of 2025, which I haven't revamped as fast as I thought I would because some other setbacks have happened, in life and things of that nature. So I'm still revamping because we are going to offer canvas prints, 16 by 20 canvas prints, as well as 11 by 17 cardstock prints of all the work. So anything you see a t-shirt of, like I was showing you here previously, if you were here then, and thank you for that. Um, the little crown, sent a little crown with the little chibi marks. So anything you see a T-shirt of, there's going to be a print of, and that means a 16 by 20 canvas print and an 11 by 17 cardstock print. Um, and there will probably be these as well. These are two of my newest covers for Legacy Comics with Mr. Patrick Hickey, and these are for Condry, Man's Best Friend, is what this comic book is called. It's an 8-page ash can edition, and I'm doing all the artwork in it as it goes. So, plus all the T-shirts that are coming through. The T-shirts, they won't be readily available at comic book conventions whenever I do get back into going to comic book conventions. just because I don't want that inventory. I want to be able to have people put what they want, pay for it right then on the spot, and then I order it and have it shipped to me, and then I'll have it directly shipped to them after I repackage it with thank you cards and things of that nature. And so, which are in the process of being printed up as well. So, a lot of stuff is in the practical magic of it all, behind the scenes with everything, but it's just going a lot slower than I wanted it to, you know. And signatures, yes, signatures don't cost extra like you see a lot of people, you know, do uh, when it comes to being at shows and things like that. They're like, oh, you're going to pay an extra $10 for the signature. No, not with me. You pay for the piece of artwork, you get the signature. You know, I have originals plus prints. So, and T-shirts. If you order a T-shirt and you want it autographed, it will be autographed for free. You know, because that is my respect going back to the fan who becomes a friend as time goes by. Because most of the people that I've met that have ordered artwork have become friends and lifelong friends, and they continue to order. Uh, and I say that with a grain of salt because the people that used to order while I was in the second marriage have stopped ordering altogether because they were only in it for the orderability because of the person I was married to, you know. And that's why I decided to revamp my entire business because I didn't want any negative connotation with my company, any bad press out there by people just wanting to sabotage me. Um, and you know, like I said, like I've told everybody, I was not an angel in my second relationship, in my second marriage, by any means. And you know, neither was she, even though she paints herself in that light. Uh, and but I can't speak for her as she's already remarried. It took her less than 13 years this time. It took her, you know. Yeah, I thought about that, you know, after I got into the relationship, and then it was like, well, let's go ahead and get married. So with number three, there won't be. Even the girlfriend doesn't want to get married, and we won't have kids. Let's put it that way. At least not by me, anyway. I'm done having kids. I've had my own. Had three plus X amount of miscarriages trying to get the third one. You know, the negative is not necessarily important. You are great without the bad past. 100%. Because I'm not the same person I was then that I am today. But people don't look at it that way, Kurt. People look at it like, oh, once bad, always bad, you know. And they don't give people more chances. And that's a blight on our society, if you will. But how much resentment do we harbor towards somebody else sometimes too? That's where we have to forgive that person for the things that they did, even though they may never know that we forgave them. Because then our conscience is clear and we forgave, and now we don't have that weight carrying with us anymore, you know? And, you know, I wish her all the best in her new marriage. You know, the fact anyone gives someone a chance is foreign to me. And exactly the resentment. Um, and like I said, I wish her all the best in her new marriage. But the guy that she did marry this third time around is a lot like her first husband, you know. And we do our best always, 100%. We all do we all have to try and do our best every day. Because like we talked about, tomorrow's not promised. The rest of the day isn't promised for any of us, you know. Like they say, when it's your time, it's your time. You know, you might go to bed and not wake up on this side of eternity. You know, it's a sad state of affairs when it happens, but it's reality. You know, I could be like we've got some errands to run today, and heaven forbid we get into an accident and don't come out of it. So, uh, but it is what it is. Am I ready? Of course. You know, I know what I know. So, but there you go. But yeah, so if you guys are interested, and don't forget to like, share, and follow right here, um, like Cat Scratch Fever, right there. Um, you and if you want to order anything, I've got a lot of stuff to order. A lot of older horror stuff that I'm posting up right now. Pretty soon I'll be working on some new material as well. But my newest material is the Condry stuff over here. Um, where did I put the originals? Because I colored them up in my Adobe program. So where did I put my originals? Where did I put them suckers? Oh, I think they're right there. They're right there and they're buried, so I'm not going to grab them up right now. Let's see. How does Superfan entail, or what does Superfan entail? Superfan is whenever you are one of the most active on a live, and you do the whole, like you've been doing the gifts right there. You've been given some big gifts uh, that aren't cheap, and that's how you start becoming a super fan. Now you do have the fan club, and then you've got the super fan. I'm not sure to all the tiers that they've got out there, but you went above and beyond. You know, just the pumpkin that I've got posted up there. You added the hat with the mustache. You added the heart, hand hearts. Coming up from the bottom, and then the little crown with the chibi red embarrassment things coming off the face and all that good stuff. And so there's just different tiers in here, and every gift that gets given is like X amount of dollar bills that go into my bank account later on. You know, and I don't either because I don't know what all of their prices are when it comes to everything. You'll see it as it comes out of your account. You'll know exactly how much you just spent. I will not because, like I said, I don't know what each thing costs. So yes, just like on Facebook, anything with Meta, they take a portion of it, just like TikTok takes a portion of it, and it's just like selling on Macari or eBay. They take their seller fees, like Macari takes it all at the end, and so on and so forth. You did explain some of it the other day. It really doesn't matter. No, I get that, and like I said, I don't know all the ins and outs because there's some people that follow that stuff like a hawk, and if somebody wants to gift and throw stuff my way, awesome. I appreciate it 100% because it all goes back into the printing process of the rebuild of everything. And if you don't want to give and you can't support that way, just please like, share, and follow. That's a support in and of itself. And comment on the live or even post that I post because that helps us out too. It's just like on Facebook. Anybody that interacts with your stuff over there, you get a rewards built off of how many comments you do, just like that right there. That is the rose that you just sent. That is a small monetary value that just went into that, and it'll tell me how much I made at the end of this live. You know, and I can show you, what all went into it, like I have before, and all of that over there on Facebook. Whenever people interact or share or repost or those type things, um, it gives a monetary value. And I see some people that make upwards of $1,000 for all the stuff that they post throughout the entire month or through a certain section before they send you money. At a point, and I'm looking at mine. It's like yes, and thanks for the whatever that was. More hat and mustache, and Um, I look at mine, I'm like, oh, $7, awesome. I can go to Burger King on that, or I can go to Taco Bell on that. Of course, I'm only buying mine, but no, just kidding. Um, and then there's other times that I get upwards of like $15, because I'm posting more content and pictures and reels and stories and all that good stuff. And just can't get the combo. Yeah, Taco Bell is expensive. Everything's expensive now. I mean, you used to go to McDonald's and get two meals for like $10, and now it's like 25 for two meals. You know, because we picked up a meal for a friend and her mother. She paid for it, of course, but it was right at $20, for the two meals. And it's just like, just buy your stuff at home. And Taco Bell is explosive in and of itself. Um, different ways if you get my drift. And, it's just like drinking coffee. Oh lordy. But no, I do appreciate each and everybody being here, going through from the paranormal to explosive Taco Bell. Um, and it's just awesome. This is what makes a show. I went to McDonald's in Ohio, in Oslo, and it was 80. Whoa, that's crazy. Yes, coffee just oozes out like soft serve ice cream, 100%. That's nuts. I mean, even in Afghanistan, when we went to Burger King on the Air Force base, because yes, they had a Burger King, and yes, it was American food, and we would definitely get our Burger King fix every time we went to Bahrain. You know, four burgers and four fries. That's crazy. It was relatively inexpensive over there in Afghanistan, being on an Air Force base. Because I think just a meal was like $5. Nothing more than that. We weren't spending like $10 and $15, for a meal, like you would think. So, but that's crazy. $89 for all that. They have a special. I forgot the magic term they use. Well, each spot has a different special that you can buy that costs you $89 for a burger. Like they've got a dinosaur special at either McDonald's or Burger King, which is like this massive burger that's like this big, that's nothing but meat and all the vegetables. Whoa, that's crazy. But Oslo, that's a different animal in and of itself. Sorry, there's a pesky fly that just showed up, kind of like exorcism style. Not fast enough for you. That's crazy. But over here, you're paying 50 cents to 75 cents for a packet extra if you want extra condiments here at the restaurants now. Because like you see it in their window, if you want more than your normal allotted per deal, you know, go to Lilyhammer, and it's pretty much the same as here. Oh, cool. What store there? Oh no, that's cool, and it's the different spots. It's just like there was somebody like I talked about on one of my live shows past. Um, they were at a German convenience store, and kind of like a, I'm not sure if it was a gas station or just a typical convenience store without a gas station. I don't know. But she was walking through showing us all the different prices of things, you know. And had we bought it here, it would be like this item was like $1.10, whereas here it would be like $6, And it's just like, I'm going to Germany, you know. Still Norway, no need to change accent. Hey, I'm getting in my roles, man. I got a voice acting gig, like I said. Going back to South Houston House, they literally saw the spirit leave an orb form above the roof. See, that's cool. I mean, at least they saw it leave. Do they still have activity now, or do they live there still? That's the question I have. Or have they already sold that house and moved on? You know, because maybe it decided it didn't want to stick around if you guys weren't living there anymore. Because I don't know what all happened here in this house. I do know supposedly, just from us contacting the spirits at hand, that someone unalived themselves, put themselves below dirt here. Um, oh, okay. So you guys don't live there anymore. That someone put themselves below dirt in this office, because it used to be a bedroom. And that's why I get a lot of activity in here, and a lot of people don't like to come in this room. I don't mind. I don't care. Just if you're gonna, make yourself known, make yourself known. I don't care. But like I said, I get EVPs, I get orbs, I get those weird feelings that things are watching you, or that type of feeling. And it doesn't bother me. It's just if you're gonna make yourself known, please do it. Um, and so when we moved in, or when I moved in, I started finding all of these crystals around the house, out in the yard, in the house, and then I started finding crucifixes throughout the house. I found one up in the attic. I'm like, what the fuck was going on here? What are you guys invoking, or trying to keep at bay, or whatever? And when my stepdad passed, I was present with his wife and his daughters. I'm sorry. That's tough. I mean, I understand, especially for the family. The daughters and stuff like that. And my stepdad doesn't have anything to do with his kids, his biological children. Um, but but I bet once he passes, unless they have their wills in place and all that good stuff, that there will be an ugly battle after that. And so you know for those worldly possessions. Uh, and don't see that light right there that you just saw. That's not a ghost light. That's reflection from my watch. Like I've talked about right there. Boom, boom. That's a reflection from my watch right there, right there, right there. So that light is flashing. I had to split it up. It's tough to make a will for sure. Oh, 100%. I need to make mine, and I'm only 54, but, my son passed at 17. You know, my sister, she was 45, I believe, when she passed away, uh, killed by a drunk driver. My son died in an ATV accident, and my grandpa passed in 2010. So it was 2008, my sister, 2009, my son, 2010, my grandfather. So all within less than a year apart. You missed the orb part. Which orb part? And if there was an orb, I'll go back and check, because this wouldn't be the first time I've caught an orb in here. So it's life. I mean, it my like I said, 2008, 2009, 2010. That's a very long time ago. But I mean, it's just like yesterday. I can pull up each memory, just like it was yesterday. Um, and that's why I go to therapy sessions for certain things with my VA therapist. And not only that, but all the stuff I saw in Afghanistan that we lived through and went through, those type of things. But no, I didn't see an orb, Mr. Kirk Holt. Uh, oh, I've been through a lot of stuff. I mean, we could start with childhood, because they weren't spankings; they were beatings. You know, um, and then we could work our way up. Let's. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I can unpack, but we're not going to. Look back a few messages. Let me pull this over and look back. I had to split it up. It's tough. Oh wait, when he passed, there were three distinct orbs that lifted above him. Okay, cool. Yes, I see that now. Gotcha. And that's very cool to see the orbs, in person. Because, like I said, I see the orbs, I see the shadow figures, and it's just like they say, the peripheral vision is the strongest portion of us that we can see the things that aren't seen. You know, and that again is opening your mind to that possibility that there is something there beyond that's not here in the physical right now. I only went to make sure he was really dying. No, I can understand that. Like I said, when we took my sister off life support, it took her about 45 minutes before she gave up the ghost. You know, um, and I've been in the room for two people that passed. My grandmother in 2006, natural causes, just like my grandfather in 2010, natural causes. Um, and it's an odd sensation to see it happen. You know, it's not something that happens to good or bad. It's the 28 grams. Yes, 100%. It's just like the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. You know, so. But all right, folks, I think I'm going to kill it for today. Going to get off of here and get some more artwork done. Got some animals to take care of since it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure they're screaming at me, especially the piggos. They're hungry. I got stuck on a haunting series and I had to stop. I've seen those. It's just like I have that stuff happen in my own house. So those series like that don't bother me. Period. You know, and love the show. Thanks for entertaining us again, Monty. Well, I appreciate you saying that because I get the opposite from other people that do drop in and want to cause commotion on the broadcast. But I appreciate those of you that actually sit here and listen to us and, banter back and forth. And good to meet you too. Go ahead, and if you haven't followed me, I'll go ahead and follow you here in a little while. But again, I got some animals to feed. I got some artwork to finish up. So, as I like to say, as I leave you guys, keep it spooky. No, that's not what I say. We will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.